Hello! Hello, hello! All right, we're just gonna check and make sure everybody can actually hear. So give me a comment if you can hear me. Checking that microphone. What's up, guys? Oh man, there's 150 people waiting. Hi. So it is, yeah, go ahead and tell us where you're from in the comments, all that. Just so you know, I try not to read all the comments and questions as they come in. So I'm gonna have Nerea helping me in the corner. She's gonna be kicking me all your important questions, but we've got a crazy story to tell you today. So it's a little bit of a story time. Hi, Nerea.
Hello.
She's gonna be my assistant. So it is 10 a.m. We are in Cairns, Australia. So we made it, and where the videos are right now, I believe we've just left Fiji, and so much has happened in between point A and point B. And just so you guys know, so you got to go onto the YouTube link, you'll find it. So you guys know, yeah, of course the videos are behind, and thankfully they are, because just like you and everybody else, we're kind of in lockdown at the moment. And so we got plenty of work that we can be doing and plenty of content coming your way. But yeah, it's been absolutely good. And we actually usually do these videos. We try to do them as often as we can. We usually do them for patrons, but we thought it was very important to give everybody an update that we're safe. We made it to Australia because we had a lot of questions like, where are you? And we haven't heard from you, and we really appreciate that, and thanks for the love, and thanks for thinking about us in these times. We're not going to get political today. We're not going to talk about things. I mean, you guys are over inundated with that kind of stuff, but we'll give you our experience, what's going on with us, and kind of what's going on with the sailing community at large that is trying to find a home, and we are very blessed. I'll put it that way. So what you haven't seen yet is we made it to Vanuatu, and that was such a magical place, and that was such a big difference from Fiji or some of the other South Pacific islands. There was a huge change in culture and people, and absolutely loved it. So that's an island chain just west of Fiji. And then from Vanuatu, we made our way to the Solomon Islands, and we were there for many months. And pretty much the time when we hit Vanuatu to Solomons is when we finally started to learn to just slow down. So things that I've kind of learned this season was when we took off out of New Zealand, and we told everybody our route, that we're going to go here and then Tonga and then Samoa. Everybody thought we were absolutely crazy, and our thought on that is like, no, we're going to see it all. We're going to see it all in a season. And they were right. We tried to do so much, way too much, and you kind of fall into a thing where you see a lot, but only a little bit of each place, and you don't really feel like you get to know the place and the culture as much as you would have liked. For instance, Tonga, we were there for a month. Samoa, we were only there for a week, you know? So we took longer to sail to Samoa and away from Samoa than we were actually even there. So we've learned a lot this season. We've learned to slow down, and we finally did that when we hit Vanuatu, and especially when we hit Solomons. And that's when we get into the juicy scuba diving. And we just dove our brains out. And that's my passion. That's my number one passion. I love sailing, but sailing is certainly just the vessel that gets me from point A to point B so that I can do more scuba diving. And that is exactly what we did through all of Vanuatu and Solomons. And the amount of World War II history that's there was just mind-blowing to us. So we did a lot of wreck diving, beautiful reef diving, and saw so many creatures that were on my bucket list that I was really stoked to finally be able to see those. Such as like a cuttlefish. I'd never seen a cuttlefish. Mantis shrimp, pygmy seahorse. The list is long. I'll never finish it all, but I did put a good dent in my bucket list of sea life to go see. And then that's kind of where the update's coming from, is in Solomons, and why we hadn't done an update in so long, or a live stream since Vanuatu, is Solomons is notoriously bad internet. In fact, they're the last country that is getting a submarine cable of internet. I don't really know what that means, but internet is very sparse and it's very, it's just hard to come by. So uploading videos was, it sometimes took up to 2 days to upload a video, and going live was out of the question. But I really liked it as well. We were able to finally like disconnect, and we were finally able to just experience it and not have the feelings of like, oh, we got to keep our Instagram up to date, we got to keep this up to date, because that was an impossibility. So that's really when we learned to slow down. Like we took entire months in like just a large lagoon and just dove our brains out in it. So but being disconnected was hard, because at a certain point we started hearing whispers of what's going on globally now. And we saw a couple signs put up in restaurants. A couple dive operations told us that all of their clients had canceled due to this. And that was like the first inkling that we had that something big's going on. And then we were able to get on the sat phone and get all of our information third hand, which is so hard, so hard. And then our visas were coming up. We only had 3.5 months that we could be in Solomon's, and our visas were coming up in 2 weeks. So we're like, what do we do? We felt like we were really stuck between a rock and a hard place. And we had many debates amongst the crew going back and forth, like, do we want to just hide and be away from all of this? Do we want to go charging into Australia right into the thick of it? And that was a really hard decision to make, and that even while we were underway, that choice changed quite a bit. So we left Solomon's, and we were heading towards Australia. And during our sail is when we found out that the USA had just closed its borders. Little sneaky crew member back there. We found out that the USA closed its borders, and that's really when it was like big red flags for us. We're like, oh man, something really bad is actually happening. So sat phone, got on the communicated with my family, like, what do we do? Do we go to Australia? How bad is Australia? Are we going to be able to get into Australia even if we do go there? And we sailed for 3 days. We made a little pit stop actually at some uninhabited islands out in the middle of nowhere to figure out, like, this is Papua New Guinea, I'll just tell you that. So we did a little pit stop in Papua New Guinea to see, like, are we actually able to go into Australia if we make our way all the way there? I had to know that, because the way the winds were, it's not like we could just turn around if we got denied. So we were able, through family, to be able to communicate with Papua New Guinea and say, okay, well, can we check in here? And Papua New Guinea was in the process of closing their borders as well. And the closest check-in point was 20 miles away, and they had closed that down. And they pretty much said, stay quarantined on your boat, and if you want to check in here, you're going to have to make your way to port, the main port. Morale? You know? The main city. Port Moresby. She's got her smart glasses on. She knows more than I do. Which was thousands of miles away, even farther away than like Australia. So we're like, okay, now what do we do? The thought did cross our minds of, okay, we have enough food. As long as it rains, we can last a month, maybe 2. But then it became clear that this might not be a month or 2. This might be 6 months or more. And who knows? And the wind was still good to make our journey to Australia, so we said, to heck with it, we gotta go. And we pulled anchor from the uninhabited island, which we did a pit stop for a day. We did do one sneaky scuba dive, and it was beautiful. We'll make our way back there one day. And we hauled ass. Like, we went 13.5 knots on the sail to Australia, which is by far the fastest we've ever gone. We were hitting 30 knot, 35 knot gusts just hanging on for dear life. And yeah, right when we were on our way to Australia, we got the word from family that yes, Australia has closed their borders. And yeah, that when I got that text message, my heart sank. I was like, we are so screwed. We're gonna be putting out here in the middle of the Pacific. And we started researching, like, okay, where can we go? Like, Guam is likely the nearest U.S. territory, and we're a U.S. flagged boat. Chuck Lagoon, is that U.S.? Kind of. Hawaii's 3,700 miles away. We can get there in a month. Go back home to Hawaii. But we have an international crew. Well, will they be let in? All of these things came into play. Do we have enough food to even make it that far? Or can we get water at sea? All of these thoughts. So we just continued on to Australia, to Cairns. And my sister, Leilani, she was able to get them through email, and we were actually in a chain email with, I think, like 12 Australian officials, letting them know that we were on our way. And with much paperwork and emails back and forth, they said, okay, you're en route. We're going to consider you that you were en route before the shutdown happened. We are going to allow you in, but when you get here, you're going to need to do a long quarantine. And that when we got that message, like, yeah, I felt such a relief. And then we made our way here. The sail here was absolutely madness, and full of twists and turns in between. And when we got here, we anchored offshore and did our full quarantine out there. And we were in the rolliest Anchorage, but we did it. And then they finally allowed us to check in after our quarantine. And then we found out we were actually the last foreign vessel allowed into Australia, which is mind-blowing at the time. Maybe they're still letting some people in, I don't know. With very special circumstances, I'm not quite sure. But we were able to check in, and we were so excited to get here after being off the map for 9 months, and especially in the Solomons. We were so excited to get here and like go clubbing, and we're gonna go to the movies. We're gonna have like a normal life for a couple weeks. And then civilization said, oh no, you don't. You don't get none of those things. So we checked in. We were able to do a little bit of provisioning, got all the awesome food that we haven't been able to get, like asparagus and lettuce and spinach and things we haven't seen for a while. And then now we've just moved up the inlet. We're in Cairns. We're actually in a little town called East Trinny, which is up the inlet from Cairns, and we're outside of a boatyard called the Rum Jungle, and it's got character. And this place feels like Florida. It feels like Everglades, Florida. The people do. There's crocs everywhere. There's gators, bull sharks. We went mud crab hunting. So we put some pots in last night. We're gonna go check our pots later on today. And everybody we meet is just a character. And it feels a little bit like home. I've heard many times, this is my first time to Australia, just so you know. So I've always heard that there's like this Australia, US, like cultural connection, and I definitely see it now. Everywhere I've been, this by far feels like the closest to home that I've been outside of the US. So I'm super excited just to explore this place. Right now, Australia is doing pretty well. Yes, they're in full quarantine, lockdown, and isolation like the rest of the world is. And so everything's closed down for the next month, but they seem to be doing better than the US and Spain and some other countries with it. We thought we were going to have the entire Great Barrier Reef to ourselves, which we eventually will. But right now they're asking people not to go out because all of their Coast Guard is elderly and volunteers, and so if something happened out there, they can't handle it. So we've just decided to chill, get some much needed boat work done. I've got the boys out back. They're working on some rust spots. Girls are editing away, and they have been for days, bringing you some new juicy content. And yeah, just try to learn how to chill. For us, quarantine feels like normal life because we're always quarantined on this boat together. So it feels a little bit like normal. Um, but yeah, I know people are hurting out there, and I do want to say that yeah, the world's pretty crazy right now, and it's hard to make plans right now. So we're trying to just not plan, not try to think 10 steps ahead, go day by day. This has been a very humbling experience for me and everybody else, I'm sure. Um, some things I never talk about actually is that I own a restaurant and bar back in the States, and I have 70 employees that are currently out of work. And I got that message through the sat phone on my way here. And that felt like just a kick to the stomach, knowing that I have all those employees that depend on us that are really hurting right now. So right now we're doing curbside to go, as many restaurants are, and just trying to hang in there and just trying to see where this all goes. And I do have partners, and they run the show for me, thankfully. I've actually been in that industry for 13 years. I just never talk about it. So that's a little bit about me, and that's how we're feeling at the moment. So we'll probably be laid up here for a couple more weeks, a couple more months. We're talking about getting hauled out at some point, maybe just doing some little upgrades to the boat. And once this is all done, just exploring Australia. And I think we'll probably be here for quite some time. I mentioned once that we were going to be doing a meetup here in Australia when we got here. Obviously, there's no meeting up with large gatherings at the moment, so all of those are postponed, on hold. But I do hope to eventually be able to have that beer with you guys. So any Aussie fans, love to meet up with you guys, whether that be here. We'll probably make our way to the west side, Ningaloo Reef at some point. So if you're on the west side of Perth, I'd love to meet up with you there. But let's talk about the sailing community and what I think that this might mean for everybody, because we're not the only ones that are in this situation. I think there's actually still boats out there trying to find a port. So this is worldwide right now. My good friend Rick Moore is down in I think Colombia. He was trying to go through the Panama and go across the Pacific. His first time to the Pacific. And hopefully we're going to meet up with him one day out here. But that's on hold. He can't go over to Panama. He's just locked down on this island. And apparently any boats that did leave Panama across the Pacific to like Tahiti and French Polynesia, those boats are getting there and they're telling them to anchor down, and they're putting them on the first flight home, which is somewhat understandable. Like, they don't have the medical, they can't handle this. If some of these little island chains get coronavirus, it's going to be hugely devastating to their populations. So they're doing the right thing. Everybody just needs to sit down and just hang out and let this thing pass. That's the best thing to do, so we can all go back to normal as quick as we can. Delos, I think they're stuck up in the Bahamas. They were going to be making moves up north. Now they can't go anywhere now. They're just sitting tight, just like everybody else. So I've got other friends that were going up and down the Caribbean chain that literally were going island to island to island, trying to get in anywhere they could, and saying, hey, like, we've been quarantined out here at sea for 2 weeks now. Like, let us in. We're running out of food. We're running out of water. And most of them have been able to get in at some point. So, but I think there's still boats floating out there. So my heart goes out to anybody that's still on the ocean or still cannot find a port. And this is going to, I feel like this is going to change cruising probably indefinitely. It's probably going to change international travel indefinitely. We're likely going to need to have medical cards, and biosecurity is going to get absolutely crazy. So it's just going to get harder. What we do is going to get harder. I feel that. So that's all I can say about that. So with that said, I'm gonna do some questions that Nerea's been adamantly writing down for us. And hit me, girl. What do we got?
So one of them, are we required to stay in place, or are we allowed to go to the Great Barrier Reef? And that's just changed.
Yeah.
So till yesterday, we were allowed to go, but the Coast Guard closed a couple of days ago. So for our safety and for all the vessel safety, everybody that was out there, they told them to come to the marina or to close by Anchorage, because they don't want to take the risk of having to save you, because they don't have people right now to do so.
Yeah.
So we can't. We have to stay here
We,
right now.
we were gonna go out this weekend, to be honest. We were like, because they're still quarantined. But when we learned about, like, hey, the Coast Guard situation, we understood. And there is no tourism here at the moment. You know, between the bushfires in Australia and coronavirus, there's no tourism at the moment, and so it does feel quite empty here. So eventually, when we're able to move around, we will have a little bit of silver lining that we'll have the Great Barrier Reef to ourselves. That's not silver lining for the local community, but some of the really busy anchorages or moorings here on the Great Barrier Reef will be quite empty. So maybe we'll give it a little bit of a chance to do some coral recovery. We are here to do stories on the Great Barrier Reef, hopefully to show that there's a lot definitely worth saving down there, and that all is not lost. So we were really excited to do those stories, and that's on our next agenda. After we probably do a story about mud crabbing and crocodile, and just kind of like falling into the good old boy of things. And yeah, we haven't had internet, so I must admit that we've been watching. What have we been watching, Naria?
Tiger King. I don't know if I'm embarrassed to say it.
We've been watching the Tiger King just like the rest of the world. We couldn't avoid it anymore. And tell you what, man, that Carol, she's guilty. Carol Baskins. Let's go on to another question.
Okay, so somebody asked where Jordan is, but like she went to have a couple of veggies and everything, so we had something to eat for lunch.
Yeah.
So she's out of the market.
So some of our crew has gone to the market to get some provisions. So we're not going to ruin everything with you. We're not going to tell you who's here, who's not here, who went here, who went there. But Jordan is around. Yeah, Carol's not guilty. Lisa said. I disagree. But we do have one new crew member, which I'll at least introduce him. And that's Matt. He's from America. He's our first American crew member. This
Hello.
is Matt.
How you doing?
Matt, where are you from, bro?
I'm from Maryland originally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I moved to Sydney about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And joined these guys in the Solomons.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your sailing background?
My sailing background is sailing instructor from like 14 years old till now, and then I did summer camps, I did adult lessons, and I bought a boat when I was 19 years old, and then I had that for about 5 years, and then I sold it and came to Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I'm here living.
And you do engineering of some sort.
Yeah. So I'm an engineer. I have a degree in mechanical engineering, and so helping out on the boat here with all sorts of boat projects. Yeah, nothing to do but boat projects.
Smart
so,
guy.
Yeah.
So poor Matt came to us like 3 days. Like I'm like, all
Oh,
right,
yeah.
come to the Solomons, and he gets there, and I'm like, all right, dude, welcome. I hate to tell you, we're sailing to Australia in 3 days because we got to get out of here. So he came, and then he came right for the sail, like immediately. It was a fun sail, though, right?
Oh, yeah, it was a great sail. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, didn't get too much time in the Solomons, but who knows?
And he just got scuba certified
Yeah,
because he knew he was joining us, and so
Love it.
his first dive with us, we took him to this giant Japanese
World War
shipwreck.
II wreck.
Huge.
Yeah, it was sunk. Japanese resupply vessel, I think, what was it, 500 foot long?
Yeah.
Maybe it was laying on its side in just a huge open cargo area.
The Taumaru.
Taumaru, yeah.
I gave him the choice. I'm like, do you want a really pretty reef or do you want a shipwreck? And he's like, oh,
Shipwreck. Yeah. You can still see the sake bottles on the bottom from all the.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a tank down there, and I know. being an amateur scuba diver, I was like so amazed because I had never been on something like that amazing. Like that was my third or fourth dive, and I was just like floating up and then sinking and not controlling my buoyancy.
You did great, dude.
Yeah.
You did great. Sweet. All right. Well, this is Matt. You're gonna meet him
Nice to meet you
soon. He'll be in those Solomon episodes. But yeah, good job, Matt. He's a good vlogger too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a boom.
See
All
you
right.
guys.
What else we got, girl?
Okay, what if we have a water maker?
What do we have a water maker?
And explain now what was the whole idea also of coming to Australia and everything.
Shoot. So when we were coming out, we had so many reasons why we were coming to Australia, and it was because being off the map for 9 months. There was after we'd lived on the boat for as long as we had, we certainly had enough time that we started to understand like what we really needed to be self-sufficient and to be off the map for another 2 years, if you will. So, big purpose of coming to Australia was that. So we were going to install a water maker. We were going to install a genset and lithium batteries. We were going to do kind of like a mini refit, you could say. We're still going to add some of those things in, but now that I've told you my bar shut down, there's a lot that is up in the air. So just like you, I'm trying to think to myself, like, can't spend everything, you know. And our YouTube's doing great. Like, it's doubled, tripled in the last couple months, and I appreciate everybody subscribing. If you haven't already, do that. And it, you know, I love it. It's our passion, but it's not paying the bills yet. So I still got that bar. That is definitely what pays our bills around here. And so with that shut, and it could be shut for months. It could be shut for 4 months, you know. So I need to weather that storm. So we're really trying to be more conservative with what upgrades we end up doing. So right now, like I'm a man of energy, and I don't do well with just like I'm not a chiller, if you will. I'm an overworker like most Americans. So at least I don't have the bar I can work on at the moment. In fact, my partners have just told me, like, you just need to chill out and just let things be the way they are. And so at least I have the time and energy to really put into to Drenched at the moment. And yeah, but we'll probably do a gen set, and why that is our dive compressor right now we have to run off of the engine, and that sucks, and I don't want to put those extra hours on the engine. So we'll add a gen set in, and a water maker. Yeah, right now, luckily, you know, we're in the tropics still. Cairns is still high enough that it gets a lot of rain, and we are able to fill up with a good rainstorm. But surprisingly, we went like 2-3 months in the South Pacific from Samoa to somewhere else where there was no rain, and it became an issue. So we will add a water maker eventually, and then I do need lithium batteries. We're like a floating editing studio. You know, we've got 5-6 laptops plugged in sometimes, and we're watching Tiger King, priorities, you know, so you have to do that. What else we got in area?
How is your mom doing?
How
is Dee doing?
Oh, my mom's good. I wanted her to rejoin us here in Cairns, because this is a great place for her to come. I wanted her to join us beforehand, but let me talk about my mom real quick. And Mom, I'm sorry if I'm embarrassing you at all, but a couple things. My mom has an autoimmune disease known as lupus. If you don't know what that is, it's an autoimmune disease. So when my mom gets sick, it's not like when I get sick or when some people get sick. She gets sick like 10 times fold. Like if I get the flu, my mom is really hurting. And as we were moving up into Vanuatu and Solomons, I had big worry. Malaria, typhoid fever, and neither one of those ended up being the problem. What ended up being the problem? What was the problem with Solomons?
Like skin infections, like really bad skin infections. We didn't film everything because it was too disgusting to show anybody, but there've been a couple of like third boobs, third assholes, third
Stop it.
third biceps, like.
This is live. I can't edit assholes out. So you get a little scrape, you get an infection, and Nerea right here ended up being like surgeon Nerea. And
Scalpel and everything.
yeah, like Chloe had a third boob that she had to like work on. Tor had a couple things. I had a mate come out from the US that got an infection in his arm, and his arm looked like Popeye arm. And he's a paramedic, and even he was like, whoa. And he's like the healthiest dude I know. And when he ended up going back to the US, they put him on like 4 antibiotics to like combat this thing. So that was the big worry about my mom coming into some of those off the map places. And now, you know, with this, my mom is in complete quarantine, all by herself at home. So I talk to her every day, harassing her, how you doing? But at the moment, I'm trying to say, hey, don't travel, Mom. You know, she's in that demographic that needs to be quarantined. But the moment that this all ends, my mom will come out and she'll join us somewhere in Australia, and I miss her dearly. When I had thought about when we got here to go home for maybe like a month, check up on the bar, check up on family. But now they're saying that Australia could have its borders shut for up to a year. So if I leave, there's a big chance that I will not be able to come back. And that's a real reality that a lot of people are falling into, such as the winds. We've been talking with them. They're separated from their boat. They're in Fiji trying to get to their boat. So there's a lot of people that are not just stuck on their boat, they can't get to port. There's a lot of people that can't make it to their boat. So, what are the questions we got, girl?
If we have enough fuel, if we are feeling healthy, if you are a vampire, I will say yes.
Yes. The vampire thing. God, I'm gonna hit that one first. So I was so tired when you're on a crossing. You just hit you can't sleep probably the first or 2 days, and then you just finally hit a wall where your body no longer cares. It's like it could be rocking and rolling, and the boat could be going down, and you'll sleep right through it. So Jordan was so kind to go film me when my body was finally like, screw you, Nate, you're going to bed, and I was out cold. And luckily for me, I'm a vampire, so I slept right through it. And then fuel. Do we have enough fuel? We fueled up in Fiji? I think we just showed that. So what we just showed in Fiji was the last time we fueled. And we fueled up with 600 liters of petrol in our petrol tank, and we filled up most of our diesel tank. And like I said, we've been going slow, and we've been sailing. Like from our sail from Solomon's to here, we sailed the entire way. So yes, we have enough fuel. But we're here in Australia. Fuel's super cheap right now, as you probably know. So we probably will fill up on petrol at some point. So, what else you got?
Emily's here.
Nice.
Okay. Who is the best cook on board?
Who's the best cook?
I'll say, in general, like vegetarian, vegan, Jordan is the best cook. I think everybody does a great job. Even Nate here, he does it great. Like, and Tor is improving a lot. Like, I think everybody's doing their best. But in this case, Jordan is the queen of the I don't know, like alternative, new, all the time she's like surprising us with something new and good.
We've all learned a lot about cooking from each other. Our new thing's been flatbreads. So we used to make bread every day, and at a certain point I'm like, why are we eating bread every day? Is this a European thing? And they were like, no, it's just... So I was like, we're all gonna get fat if we just keep eating all this flour bread all day. So then we just started eating, we started making flatbreads, which is like the easiest thing you could possibly make. And one day soon we're gonna do, what are we gonna do, Nuria? A Sylvia cookbook?
Yeah, with our best like recipes or videos about what do we cook, what is easy to cook during a crossing, how we storage the food, and like food-based kind of a video.
For me, myself, I'll say what everybody's strengths are. Tor makes a mean Spanish omelet. Myself, I think it's my restaurant background that I can find all like the stuff that nobody's cooking with, like all the leftovers, and I'll make something crazy out of it. And but because I owned the restaurant, because I was the boss, I was used to like going and experimenting and like making stuff, and then like the poor cooks would have to clean after me. So I'm terrible. Like when I'm done cooking, the kitchen is destroyed. Emily would somehow have all of the dishes done before she was done cooking, and
True.
yeah, so everybody's got their own things. Will is a really good cook actually, and Chloe as well. So I think we've all definitely upped our cooking game. So vegetarianism is new for a lot of us though, and so we and if you don't know what we're talking about, we have a rule that unless you catch it, like these mud crabs I'm gonna catch, unless you catch it, that's the only way you can really eat meat. So we've definitely had to experiment with vegetarian options and learning a lot about how to make good vegetarian things.
And talking about the crew, they are asking if we know how the old crew is doing, or if somebody bailed and went home.
Let's not ruin everything. We're not gonna answer everything. You gotta stay tuned and watch. I'll say that coronavirus played a big part into some of that, getting crew, losing crew, this and that. We were supposed to have crew that joined. Some crew got stuck. That's part of the fun, guys. So, I'm not gonna tell you all about the crew except for in a very soon upcoming episode. Our mutual favorite crew member of all time is a cute little pig named Peanut, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's coming in like a few 3 weeks. I think in 3 weeks you will see.
Little Peanut. And Peanut is just a heart melter. I think, yeah. So you're gonna meet Peanut very, very soon, and she's the cutest little pig, and very much changed my perception on pigs, and it's the best pet ever, and everybody should have a pet pig. So anyway.
How is the new sales situation going?
Well, we put that video out, and then coronavirus hit, and I've been talking to the boys at Precision Sales, and they are all working from home right now. You know, we had some sponsorship partner things lined up with different companies, and to be honest, I have decided to just leave everything alone because I don't think it's the right time to start hitting people up with business inquiries or anything right now. Everybody's worried about their family, everybody's worried about their own health, so I'm just chilling on all of that. Precision Sales boys, I love you. We'll connect soon. I've gotten some amazing tattoo drawings and amazing drawings sent over that are going to be really cool when that day comes. But our current sales are working out just great. They got us here in 35 knot winds, and our Miz is fixed. A lot of people are always like, why don't you fly your Miz in? And so that's fixed. That's in an upcoming episode, and yeah. What else you got?
I'm not single. I thought it's a steal. Oh my.
It's complicated.
I'm secrets. Come on.
He's here. He's out working on rust spots. I'll go say hi to him.
Yeah, Aitor, come. And yeah, for now that's where. Somebody's asking about Ocean's arm, like how is she doing?
Let's leave that alone too. But you'll definitely find it. Look at this master shredder.
Hello, how are you?
Look.
Yeah, you know, we are here in Cairns getting ready the boat and fixing different things, several jobs, and to get ready again to go to the next adventure. And right now, what I'm doing is fighting the corrosion. You know, that is a big thing here in a steel boat. So we have to be quite constantly there, working there. So, yeah.
You're wearing that mask because you're working, not because of coronavirus. Show us your awesome pirate scar.
Yeah.
Look how beautiful it looks. Dude, that's
It's getting better.
He looks like a sailor now, huh?
Yeah. Like a real swap. Pirate. Yeah.
Oh, he's good. He's still with us.
Yeah.
Hanging in there. somebody said, "Can you give us a tour?" The answer is no. The boat is so torn apart right now.
You don't want to see it.
You
You
don't
really don't want to go there.
We're
today.
really like we're torn apart the boat right now. So no tour right now because we're doing some woodwork down below. I'm gonna do a tour video coming up. Maybe you remember we had that one tour video in our early days. So once we're done with some of this renovation, we're gonna show the updated new Sylphia Deluxe tour. So yes, is Jordan is on the market? Yes, she is.
Yeah. And
Oh,
there's
she's in the
like-
market or she on the market?
Sis, I don't know.
Who's asking
I
these
don't know. I don't know. What sorry, my spelling is not the best sometimes in English. It's a good question. Actually, one of you asked if what will we do if somebody gets sick on the boat, because as you can see, like if somebody gets it, like probably everybody's gonna get it. It doesn't mean that we will have symptoms or we don't know. But we have cleaning products, we have bleach, we have alcohol, we try to clean the surface. Every time we need to get supplies from on shore, we clean everything, we use gloves, like we get a shower. We are taking all the measurements possible to be coronavirus free on the boat. And if somebody starts having symptoms, we will have to take him or her to the back cabin and
back
try
cabin.
to keep all the maximum distance from that person.
We feed them food through the hole. Yeah, like the Count of Monte Cristo back there, right? Some of you viewers are savage. Somebody was like, they walk the plank. I heard that. I saw that like 3 times. They walk the plank. They get voted off the island, right? So, you guys want to see the Anchorage outside? Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys that quickly while Nerea gathers her questions and stuff. I'm gonna do this for another 10 minutes or so, knock it as much as we can, but here we go. Going outside. Woo! It is bright. It's like 10:30 a.m. That's the rum jungle. That's my new friend Brad over there. He's got this catamaran right there. And that place, in this boat right, can I find it? That boat right there is where the owner of the boatyard lives. And that boat was built at the same year that the Titanic was. And somehow he's gotten that up on shore. And the amount of characters and we met one-leg Dave. We met a man that's called the Wizard. Australia, man. I'm so stoked to be in Australia. It's like that's where we were putting our mud crab pots down over there somewhere. And there's this guys racing up and down here with boats trying to catch some fish, and it seems like a very active community here. And we're not used to it. We've been off the map, as you know, and so we don't run into many sailors. But here we've ran into some fans of the show, which is always cool. You don't really realize, and you're not expecting it, but now that we're back in civilization, we get it more. And that's been really cool to hear from people like Brad. He says that we've inspired him to go to get his own boat. And that guy is a really cool dude. He got this big catamaran with him and his little beautiful family, and keep fixing it up, and he's gonna go sailing. If you guys see this, okay, I think we're reconnected. Buffering, we good? We see it? I think they see it.
How do you choose to join? Who joins the crew?
How do
That's
we
a good
choose?
question,
Okay.
actually.
I don't know. Good timing. They choose us. It just works out that way. Sometimes people just send the right message at the right time. We do have people send a video, to be honest with you. It's just like an introduction of themselves, seeing if they're able to talk to the camera, because what we do is weird. Talking to the camera like it's your best friend. It's a hard thing to do, and to send that emotion through the camera to people. So we make sure that that's number one. Sailing experience just depends on what we need for the on the crew at that time, I guess. So what else you got?
No questions.
Yeah, I got some from before that we weren't able to answer on the crossing. Some patron questions that I said to ask the down and dirty questions, and the down and dirty questions were all revolving around sex. Imagine that. So let's talk about sex for a second.
Yeah, one of the questions was that. But I didn't
Yeah,
know.
always about sex.
If we are going to see the cross sex between people on
Yeah.
the boat. It's been quite quiet. But
You
we don't take
perverts.
those. We don't say those secrets. No.
No, not all the secrets, but the boom boom room went out the window. Like, nobody cares about the boom boom room. It's just, it is what it is. People do it where they do it, when they do it. I don't know. Sometimes you hear things, you're like, are they? I don't know. That's just part of it. If you've ever lived in a hostel or just on a boat, it's just a part of it. So people keep asking about the boom boom room, and yeah, that's about it. You know, like, is it the love boat? Sure, things happen. All good. What next?
If new tattoos come in.
New tattoo? Yeah, I think we got our swallow. We definitely put on enough miles to get our swallows, right?
Yeah.
I think if I had to guess, we put like 8,000 miles on this season. So we all get our swallow. We also crossed the international date line, which, what was that one again? It's like the Golden Dragon, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't get across the equator. We were going up that way, and then we said psych, and we went back down. So we don't get Neptune just yet. And so yes, tattoos are coming.
Yeah, I have this one that it's like my last year in New Zealand. I had 2 tattoos, so now I have another 2 here on my arm that is gonna be for my experience on Sylvia. So I'm just thinking about the design and everything. There is a tattoo artist that I like a lot in New Zealand, so let's see.
So whoever the tattoo artist that maybe wins the sale contest, will have them when they come, when we do put the sales up, we'll have us come to bring their tattoo gun, and we'll get our swallows, right? On the spot, on Sylvia. Yeah. Cool.
If you could improve one characteristic about Sylvia, what would you improve or change?
What would I improve or change? I had this dream that up on the front, because we all sleep together on the bow a lot when it's nice, and I really want like a giant, like, stretched hammock kind of thing up there. You ever seen like those nets that they put over canyons? It's like interwoven nets. I want to have that it can go up there at times, so we can just have like kind of like a big tramp.
Yeah.
You know, when you used to sleep on a tramp when you were a kid? Did you ever do that? Do they do that in Spain?
No. Not
Sad
particularly.
childhood.
Super
Sad childhood.
we used to play freely on the streets. That's the only thing that we had.
In the streets of Spain. Running from bulls, no doubt,
Running
right?
for bulls, for sure.
For sure. Okay, what else would I change? Somebody asked if I'd get a catamaran. Probably not. Probably a weight thing. Like, we have 12 scuba tanks steel. We've got a huge crew. So I don't know. Brad's catamaran looks pretty sweet, though. Maybe it could hold all of us. Who knows? I love Sylvia, and I gotta say, I feel very blessed to have this boat. And as you've seen, Sylvain has rejoined us, and I feel so lucky to have found Sylvia and that she found me, and I don't think that I will ever sell Sylvia. I feel a real connection to the boat and to the family, and I love that we're all mates, and that Sylvain and hopefully Sophia can come out soon, and I just feel like it was meant to be. So with that said, no catamaran for me. Maybe one day I'd like to have a flotilla of boats where, like, I get tired of this girl, so I go over to that boat, you know, and so we all cruise the seas together. I've been reading a book lately about what's the Spanish guy's name? Morelos? The guy that went around the world?
Magallanes.
That guy, and learned about more like flotillas of boats from back in the day. There was a Chinese treasure fleet, they called it, that had like thousands of boats, and they all went together. It was like 17,000 people just roaming the seas together. That would be cool. At one point during all this, when I was like, we're going to be stuck without a country to call port, I thought we were going to end up in Waterworld. You know, that city on Waterworld? I really thought that might be our new reality. So we were about to go find that. All right.
Somebody's saying, like, how do we store meat? The boat is strictly vegetarian, so unless you hunt, that I don't think it's gonna happen. Or fish, we don't
Yeah.
We don't store any kind of meat or fish.
Yeah.
It's only veggies, beans, sprouts, anything that you could imagine.
Yeah.
And some other questions say like if Aitor and I had thought like we'll have stayed this long on the boat, and no. Like we started our trip like 1 year ago, and we weren't expecting of finding Sylvia, and we had our plans and we were going to go to Australia last October, but I don't know, everything felt okay, like everything happened, and we are just going with the flow until, yeah, I don't know, till it's time to go, or maybe never. You never know. Maybe we'll see us again in 10 years here. I don't know.
Somebody just asked if we've ever been attacked by a shark. No, that doesn't happen.
Snout, only snout. Like peanuts.
Well, we're in Australia now. Yeah, we're in Australia now, so now they're like, it does happen. No, we have not. Go back to some of our old episodes. You'll see a tiger shark episode, which was the closest we've been to tiger sharks, and absolutely beautiful footage. We've done bull sharks. We've been with a lot of sharks. In fact, I'll hit on this a little bit. We're gonna start doing more side video episodes. You probably have maybe already seen that kind of stuff that we've been putting out slowly. And lucky for us, we stored a lot of footage, and why we're so far behind in our episodes is because we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to upload episodes in Solomon's. So now we're starting to put 2 videos out a week, if you've seen. And yeah, we've got content for days. We're excited to do that, but we're also going to start putting out more like scuba diving videos, just pure scuba diving videos, that it's like how to dive with sharks, how to video underwater, how to get a better lighting and stuff while you're underwater, all of those kind of things. Why are you diving overweighted? Everybody dives overweighted. Those kind of videos. As well as cooking on a boat, sleeping on a boat. We got some awesome ideas. Hot for Teacher videos are coming with this girl right here. Just you wait for that. It's pretty cool. We filmed one of them so far, and it's going to be really, really cool. But back to the sharks. We're going to do a full video on how to dive with sharks, but I have not actually seen a great white underwater, and that was one of my biggest things that called me to Australia. Is I would really like to see great whites outside of a cage. Yes, I know that's crazy, but I'd like to dive with great whites out of a cage. So that's the plan. Stay tuned for that. Any others, girl?
Yeah, if we 2 things. Like, are we going to continue with the podcast? Yeah, we are supposed to continue with the podcast, and now that we are in Australia, we have good internet, and everything is way easier. We will try to get more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put a couple of them up. The channel is about to go and have a lot more. We started working with a lot more other nonprofits and sustainable organizations, which I'm very proud of. That was our goal when we started all of this. That is why we're a U.S. marine educational nonprofit, is for that reason, to shed light on issues that we care about. And to be frank, the beginning of the season, we were moving so fast that we were unable to. And a lot of that was because of cyclone season. But when we hit Vanuatu and Solomons, we finally slowed down and started doing a lot more of those kind of episodes that I feel are more educational. And yeah, so I'm really excited for the turn that's going to be. And of course, here in Australia, we're going to be working with scientists for Great Barrier Reef and shark scientists. Grant said something about crocodiles. I'm looking for him, Grant. I saw a baby one last night, but hopefully I would like to see a croc, maybe not underwater, or at least not in murky water, but cool. All right, anything else?
Yeah, somebody asked if we eat seaweed, because as you know, seaweed is really good source of protein. So we tried, and also it's really good for diabetes. Actually, if you put seaweed with a little bit of every day in your meal, if you eat pasta, rice, or whatever, it's really good to control the sugar in your blood. And so we tried. we try a little bit.
Yeah.
We still have to do the effort because you forget that you have the seaweed so easy. But yeah, and we cook in seawater whenever we are in the clean waters. That's for sure. Like rice, potatoes, pasta, half and half.
Yeah.
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 And they talking about fishing. We are not very good at fishing, and Brett and Will are the ones that they were really into that. So we've been pretty vegetarian lately.
Yeah.
For the last 4 months.
Yeah, we suck. We suck at fishing. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, there's no. People are like, why aren't you catching more fish? Well, I don't try that often, and I just suck at it. Like, and that's okay. So,
A
what-
good one because I'm working on it. What music do we listen on the boat? We are working in a Spotify list, a playlist that it will have the music that we use for the episodes plus the music that we listened the most to. I don't know if I made that grammatically correct sentence in English, but I think everybody understood.
Spotify. We'll post that
Spotify
when it
list.
comes up. Now that we're back on the grind now, we're in internet land, we can do a lot more of that kind of stuff.
Oh,
so.
this is a good question.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
What is the greatest number of lionfish you took from out at one time? The Pacific is actually their habitat. You will see it in one of the videos that I'm working on. So in the Pacific, they have natural predators that they will keep their numbers in line. So here in the Pacific, you can just enjoy watching them under the water.
Yeah.
They are magnificent creature, but it's true that we're wild is a really dangerous animal because they can reduce up to 70% of the native fish that is happening in the Caribbean. for
True,
example.
Dan. Outside of that, when I was with Andelos, we definitely, I think I got 13 at one point. Big monsters, because that's in the Caribbean where they're invasive. So, yep. And they are tasty out there. But as she said, they are supposed to be here, so we don't kill them here. I still see them though, and I still have this feeling like you're bad, but they're not here. So all good. Anyway, some crews online as well, just typing away, answering questions as well. So appreciate that, guys. But let's I think
Yeah.
are we good?
Yeah, financially okay. If you like, how can they help? How that's some of the
If you go to
questions.
Salt Lake City, go to my bar when it opens. It's called prohibitionutah.com. Check that out. I've never made a plug for it. Go there, get some to-go food. That's all I can ask for, guys. No, we're doing all right, guys. Everybody's in the same situation. Everybody in the world's in the same boat, per se. So we're doing okay. Luckily, my partners are smart and they're prepared for some of this, as in I would have spent everything I had on remodeling this and that because that's just how I am. But my partners are way better with money than I am, so bar's going just fine. As far as Drenched, yeah, it's slowly blossoming. This is our first season, and we've only been putting videos out for 9 months as a boat. Before that, of course, we did our scuba show for years, but the channel's just exploding now. So what can you do? Share your love of the channel with your friends. Anybody that's into sailing or scuba diving or alternative lifestyles or anything else in between. If you think that they're conservation minded, or I think that we do a good job when it really comes to focusing in on underwater creatures, and that's our goal, is to make people fall in love with the ocean. So if you have somebody that you would like to share this with, to hopefully get their mind open with those things as well, it'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. I think I heard Jordan pull up, so let's see if she's here now, and maybe she can say a quick hello before we sign out. So let's see if we can find her. You want to say something real quick? Let's keep it entertained.
I don't know, I mean, like with the questions and everything, but yeah, like I hope everybody's okay. I hope your families and everybody that is in quarantine it's doing okay. My situation is a little bit complicated because more or less my mom and I, it's like the only family that I have left, and she's living alone in Bilbao. So for me, it's every day I try to talk to her, and it's kind of like a hard situation being here stuck and not being able even to visit her. If it's right now, it's not the recommendable thing because I don't want to spread or take a risk like she could get sick or everything. So yeah, I hope everybody's okay, and I know the situation is hard, but I encourage everybody to stay at home and go through this all together. Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I tried really hard to make it back in time, but hello everybody! How's it going?
Probably I missed everything that you guys already talked about, but
Say hi
so
that they know that you didn't fall off the boat
yeah,
somewhere.
I'm here.
They're like, where's Jordan?
I live.
Yeah, you're still hanging in there, guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're real people, and we feel you, and we're all in this together. And yeah, are you homesick?
Me?
Yeah.
Should honestly, I mean, I'm from Kansas. I don't know if I ever mentioned that very much, and I love my family very much that lives there, but I don't actually like going there. So I wouldn't say that I'm homesick, but for sure I miss my family. And yeah, my mom and my stepdad and my brother, they live in Kansas, Overland Park, SRQ Lisa. And so yeah, like my brother's getting ready to have a second baby and all that stuff. So it feels weird to not really have the option of going home, because if we leave Australia now to go back to the US, for example, then we won't be able to come back. So that's, you know, at least for who knows how long, and it's a big unknown. So that part's hard, but yeah, my family's doing well, and I don't miss Kansas though. Sorry, Kansas people, if you're out there, but
For me, it's just like nothing like a crisis makes you homesick more. I am homesick just because like I feel for my family, and I don't know. I wish I could be there for them, and it's really hard to feel this disattached. It was harder. I think I'd be really struggling if we were still in the Solomons without internet. I think I'd be pulling my hair out, to be honest with you. So I'm glad that we were able to make it here, and I do want to give a big shout out to Australia and say thank you. I can't tell you how friendly they were on check-in, and they seemed actually generally like stoked to have us. They were like, "Oh, you guys made it in time!" Like it was the easiest, friendliest check-in process I've had, which I thought would be quite different.
and we'd heard the opposite from a few boats, because we have, you know, like quite a bit of dried food on board still that we're working our way through, and we'd heard several boats tell us you can't bring any of the stuff, you can't bring any like spices, you can't. If they find one ant on your boat, they're gonna quarantine you and all this stuff. And so we really did a lot to get ready to come to Australia. And the boat looks great, and everything was super organized. And in the end, you know, they were super friendly, and
We brought some food because we weren't sure if we were going to even be able to make it in, and we didn't know if we were going to get turned away. And can you imagine getting turned away and now you have no food?
Yeah.
People are asking to see my tattoo.
Yeah.
It's still there. It was real. It didn't get like washed off or anything.
There it is.
Oh, she's still there.
Yeah.
Lana's grandma lives.
Yeah.
So.
Lana's grandma.
All right, guys. Well, with that said, are we all set? I just want to send love from us to you across the ocean, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Just know that I know that we're all hurting and we're all not okay, and that's okay. We're not okay either, but let's just be not okay together, but it is at a distance, and hopefully we make it through this process. And yeah, 2020 kicking the dick, right? So, but just know that yeah, we're real people, and we have not been spared from the uncomfortableness that is this current situation. And we had thought about putting out like that sale video beforehand and like throwing it out, but we thought like let's not break our timelines and all that, so I thought we'd just do a story time instead. But that video is going to come out, and when it does, it's such an awesome sale, and so many cool things happen. So we're really excited to share it all with you, and I'm so stoked to share Solomons with you. That's by far been our favorite country. And can I tell you that if you haven't heard of Solomons, look it up. Add that to the very top of your bucket list of places to go to. People
In 5 years.
In 5 years when you can.
When this is all over.
They're so friendly. The diving is amazing, and it was just it's one of the few places on the planet that just feel like it's definitely just hanging in there. Like it's still very much like off the map still, and I think that that's going to become less and less common. So I guess that's what happens when you don't have the internet, is you still retain that. So anyway, Ocean X, I don't know about that stuff. Send us messages, put comments below on the actual video, because we haven't been able to see all of it. So do that, or send it to us in a private message, anything that we may have done, missed. We'll try to do this more often while we're here in Australian internet land. And anyway, thank you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, okay? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Uh-oh, how do I stop this?